The first entry, made on the 4th of February, 51, by an unknown author, is short and concise.
That should be like a bit more than a month ago. When the game is set, I remember. I think it starts on March 11th, or something like that. Somewhere in that area.
Arrived at the church. The door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder. Just as you finish reading, he looks up, muttering under his breath.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while.
He's gonna say no. Let's read the second part. You know what? We can still read it, I'm sure, after we ask him that.
Our case? No, I don't think so. It must be some local eccentric.
Let's read the second entry.
6th of February, 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with narcotics. It's a little spooky, all right. Still haven't figured out the electricity. See? Even one of the spookers themselves says it's unnerving. What was that about narcotics? This could prove to be interesting.
Wait, narcotics? Let's look around.
I doubt that we can find any. It's just idle fishermen's gossip to scare away the kids.
He looks at the stained glass window.
Nothing spooky about this place either. It's just abandoned and cold, and in an awful part of town.
Then why doth the lieutenant protest against spending time here so often?
Let's read the third entry.
7th of February, 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking ESCA series, something advanced.
Why would you need an antenna?
Why would anyone need any of this equipment here?
He steps on a wire running on the ground, inspecting it with his boot.
For setting up a radio computer.
Let's read the fourth one.
8th of February, 51. Bought the antenna, had some problems setting it up. Called Simon for help. Heard the others are back to making art. Drinking somewhere out of town. Sulislav started a rock band again. Lexi has been seen asking money from strangers. But at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get work anywhere. Graphic design, ads. The programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. The writers, though, they're fucked. I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup, when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know. Everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right.
A data loss?
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about them to understand what the author is saying. Something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the author's fault. Let's just keep reading.
Artists, programmers, Lexi, who are all those people?
Her friends? Colleagues? She must be quite educated if she knew how to set up all this machinery.
Let's read the fifth.
12th of February, 51. Brought some food from the grocery store. Apparently, there's a strike going on in the harbor. Definitely not happy to see the Martinez people again. Everything's now set up in the church. Going to start working tomorrow, 8 a.m.
The strike. We are nearing the date of the murder. Keep reading. I'm interested now. I want to know what's that radio anomaly that sent this person here in the first place.
25th of February, 51. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But I did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've named it the Swallow. It swallows sound. Need to get some mics.
Is she talking about?
The lieutenant looks to his right toward the silence. Yeah, probably. Let's read.
28th of February, 51. Yes, the first recordings confirm that the swallow is real and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence with a diameter of approximately 3 meters. Seems like the higher I go, the less I record. This might be a coincidence, or it could be connected to the data loss that led me here.
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
But what could it be? That's looking at the water basins behind me.
The lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gaze, studying the basins. The water shines in them. No ripples.
Well, continue reading then.
March 51. Some kind of young disco men have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now it turns out I've also been capturing the future of dance music, one neo-disco song over and over again.
Oh, he's playing the same song over and over. You know, to be honest, that doesn't surprise me all that much.
Fortunately, the song is so monotonous, I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, one of the disco men came in. Before I could even say hello, she got scared and left. Good, I don't want anyone distracting me from my work. That disco man must be a cell.
She must be describing a cell.
The girl on the ice? Sounds like her, yes.
March 51. A new 2-meter aux cable. Noodles, crackers, ping-ping energy drinks, water, toothpaste, gum, also some canned air. Your reading is interrupted by the sound of the church door opening. A strange woman makes straight for the radio computer.
Oh boy. Let's hope we're not in too deep of a trouble right now.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
She glares at you as she holds down the off button for several seconds. The machine reboots.
Yes, you are breaking in, but not into her radio computer. You're a master circuit bender.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
I can assure you I'm an expert circuit bender. I am not breaking into your computer. I'm using it to access coalition military data links. We're here on a side case representing certain music venue organizers. We're not just breaking in, I'm pursuing a mysterious lead searching for my lost identity. All of them make me look like a bit of a Melvin, huh? Let's go with the last one. I mean, she's expressed a distaste for the music people, so let's do the last one.
You won't find any answers from here.
She barely looks up from the keyboard. You hear the machine whir back to life.
It's just me and my computer, and it has been this way for weeks. Now please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't destroyed anything.
We should talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.
Okay, now let's move through here.
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel.
No.
Cold wind seeps in from the crack in the glass. Snowdrifts cover the floorboards at your feet. Above, you feel her multicolored eyes on you, inspecting you.
No.
As that bitter thought passes through your head, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder with 3 fingers.
I don't want to get myself into some sort of religious thing right now. It's fine.
Good call. She left us all in the shits. Don't give her a single thing. Just stand there in the apricot-colored light of the window, secretly grinding your teeth. The woman smiles her distant smile, unmoved, struck in half by the crack in the glass.
Okay, we could say that this is Dolores Day. We could say, how did I know this is the mother of humanism? Or we could think that to our encyclopedia. Let's do that.
Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is Her Innocence, Dolores Day. The innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men.
Wait, what exactly is an innocence?
The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit.
A ruler?
More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate inauthentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office.
Is one in office now, though?
No, we are alone.
Okay, when did she rule?
300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi. She is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world.
What else do I know about her?
Many things. You know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene La Navigateur, Queen of Seren, modern-day Sir Laclay. Also, that she was gorgeous beyond beauty.
Okay, what else? Was she smart?
Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state, a scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous.
How come?
It was on her advice that Irene La Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale. A costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history. The DeLorean era.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt.
I want more?
As did we all. The lands of the Mesk and the Occident, and even faraway Supramuindi, altogether 21 of the 40 mundial nations of the time. immediately accepted Innocentic rule, even before her crowning.
Her crowning.
In a city called Advesperaskit in Vesper Messina, her homeland, the name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza with the crowd far away. Already, her Theriers, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt.
She must have been beautiful.
Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well, very well. Midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by as her Theriers placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by secret servicemen.
And then what?
One of the men in this secret service killed her 22 years later. A young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Day was not entirely human, but something else.
What?
Something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves. The man was reported to have screamed at the Innocents. Dolores Day was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm, like a furnace, and that sometimes, while on duty, he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. This inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology.
Was there something terrifying about her?
Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But although she's often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day, constantly surrounded by her Theriers. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the Innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs.
Oh boy.
The Mesk state tried to detach itself from Innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity.
That sounds kind of fascist, you know?
She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacentic, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Lieutenant Yefreitor, you've stood there for over 5 minutes.
The lieutenant's calm voice echoes in the cold air of the church.
What are you thinking of, if I may ask?
She's somehow connected to the case. Glowing lungs, that's fucked up. Why did we tolerate this bourgeois woman that long before we shot her? Nothing, just looking around. She's beautiful, she's not human or war criminal. war criminal.
I don't know about that. It was a different time, a different war. Either way, this church, the coast in general, we shouldn't linger here. This isn't a good place to get lost in. We should conclude our business and move on.
Okay, 58%, I can do that. Let's try to reconstruct the cracked glass.
A jigsaw of
There we
broken
go.
shards falls into place in front of you. A ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one. And a text, a light motif below them both.
What shattered this? Who is the older woman? Let's find that out first.
The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden Reichsapfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, 30 years, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail.
The motto, what does it say?
Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau.
Okay, French, eh? So after the life death, I assume that's where her password comes from, and after the death, a new life, or something like that.
And then, along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau.
Okay, I have no idea what gris means, but like after the world, something, and after the something, a new world?
After life,
Oh, there we
death.
go.
After death, life again. After the
Oh.
world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the insulindian, on human thinking. A tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death.
Lieutenant, this used to say after life, death.
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however.
Why?
It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing.
What is the RCM motto now?
Justice, union, prudence, and force.
Cool, not very feminine. I like the other one better. I like this, puts the fear of God back in these... What I'm not gonna say. Not very feminine.
Not at all.
What shattered the mosaic?
Unknown. A motor carriage, a gunshot, someone falling into it, or maybe just hooligans looking for something to break. The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax.
Okay, we've heard that before. Are you done with this now?
What is it?
I didn't break anything, did I?
No, you just printed out my personal log and wasted some paper.
It does not look like a big loss, sir. Sorry, but who are you? What are you doing here?
I am Soona Luukkanen-Kilde, the former lead programmer of Fortress Accident and RSA radios. I have over 16 years of programming experience, and I'm proficient in both Vox and Orbis languages. If
Okay.
you're not here to hire me, I don't really know how I can help you.
She returns back to the terminal.
Did she say over 16 years of experience? She must have started programming when she was still a teenager. That still doesn't answer what she's doing in an abandoned church.
Have you seen the crab man?
Nope.
But you know he's around?
Yes,
He's seen you. He must have seen you. It sounds like you're not worried about him at all. He's seen you.
And?
Okay, it's probably not a big deal then.
No, you're right. I'm not.
Her voice trails off as she bends over to tinker with the machine's printer. Why are there so many machines in this place?
I brought them here. These are my machines. Please don't touch anything.
Why do you need an antenna?
I use the AR-1 as my RAIN prefix processing unit.
RAIN Prefect, that's your radio computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that antenna is its processing unit?
Yes? You really don't know anything about radio computers, do you?
She has stopped working now. Not really. I don't know much about anything in this world, to be honest. Let's go with
All
that.
right. Well, all radio computers perform operations up on air. So in order to gain more processing power, you need to invest in a good antenna.
And the RA1, is it a good antenna?
I guess it is. So far I've been quite satisfied with it. Martinez is an unstable region with bad coverage and the operation has been surprisingly stable. But it's not the cheapest one on the market. So I wouldn't recommend it for your regular red tape operations. Fraser 1000 is a foolproof line for civilians. Anyway, you should do some research before you decide to buy anything. Ask around, compare the prices. There are many milieus dedicated to that sort of thing.
What are you doing with your radio computer?
I'm working.
The machine seems almost alien with its pulsing core, the light casting her face in a strange shadow.
Could you just shh for a moment? Or get to the point. I really need to focus on something.
What about those bowls of water
They
over
are
there?
connected to my RAIN prefect. Whatever you do, just please don't move them, okay? Thanks.
Short and terse, there you have it. Whatever she's using them for, they're hers.
Isn't your RAIN Prefect radio computer made exclusively for the government use?
So you do know something about computers. You're right. Prefect is used mostly by the government peeps.
And you work for the government?
No, I don't.
So why do you have it?
Because I needed something good for my investigation and RAIN Civic is widely agreed to be below all standards. So I had to upgrade. Besides, owning a RAIN prefect isn't such a big deal anymore.
No, actually, it is kind of a big deal. You don't see REAM prefects in every police department, for example.
How did you get your hands on it?
I know a friend of a friend who used to freelance for the Coalition. I was actually aiming for the military-grade RAIN Rational series, but couldn't find one. Prefect is mainly based on the same technology as RAIN Civic, so it's kind of a rip-off. But it does have better compatibility with newer antenna models, so I won't complain.
Right, I'll try not to touch anything. Next question.
Great.
What are you doing in an abandoned church?
You really like those questions, don't you?
There's a hint of amusement in her tired eyes. I'm a police officer, it's my job to ask questions. You're occupying a public space, I need to know what you're doing here. There have been complaints from your neighbors. Let's go with the first one.
I'm conducting scientific research here. You can't throw me out.
What research?
I'm looking for the location of a 2mm hole in the world.
Wait, what? She's looking for a disruption in the radio waves. That's what her personal log said. The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything.
Is the hole connected to the data loss in your journal? A hole in the world? What does that mean exactly? Let's go with the first one.
Yes, that's what led me here. But I suspect it might be something a bit more complicated than that.
A hole in the world, what does that mean exactly?
Exactly. What does it mean? Up to now, it has been impossible to say what it is because it's impossible to measure nothing. What do you think it is? What qualities does nothing have? How do you measure something that does not exist?
She's suddenly absorbed in the conversation, waiting for your answer.
That's a little above your pay grade at the moment.
Hold on a moment. Does it mean we're now living in a world that has holes in it? I can't even understand how we're talking about something that doesn't exist, let alone measure it. I don't know, I'm not here for some science, I just want to solve a murder so I can go home. Let's go with the second one.
You measure it by its surroundings, by that which does exist, which is what I've been trying to do. I've tried using hydro transducers to record the silence, to find out where it begins.
Hydro transducers. So that's what those water basins are. Devices for recording sound through water.
But honestly, it's not progressing very well.
She grows silent, staring at her circle of basins. It looks like some ancient ritual. Do you have any idea where this hole might be located?
Somewhere underneath those roof beams, I assume.
She looks up, eyes trying to pierce the pitch black heights above, but without much success.
Only a faint crisscross of rafters can be made out from the dark. Most of the tower disappearing into the shade.
Why there?
There's this place at the back of the church, a place where all audible vibrations seem to decease. I've named it the Swallow, and the higher you go, the less you record.
The Pillar of Silence? Are you sure it's not just an architectural quirk?
Maybe, but it's oddly close to the physical coordinates of the data loss that led me to this place.
This is where the Crabman lives.
I know.
I don't think... you don't think Crabman might be somehow responsible here?
No, I don't.
You said that the research isn't going well, why not?
Because it's just trial and error, trying to locate the Swallow, the exact point in space. And I don't have a... You know what? It would be really helpful if you could just stop talking and let me work.
That's all I wanted to know about the scary 2mm hole in the world for now.
Great. Thanks.